Hi friend, welcome to Yoga Borne YouTube and welcome to Slowdown September. So our practice today is move slowly and it's going to be a floor-based flow. So at the moment we're having some late summer kind of heat wave experience. So this floor-based flow will be really nice just to ensure that we don't overheat, it's not too strenuous, we're not feeling even more tired than maybe we already are. We can keep it nice and close to the ground. And in traditional Chinese medicine, or perhaps Eastern-based earth wisdom, if you are interested in things like that, then late summer is the earth element. So it's all about, after this expansion of summer, we're starting to slowly come to ground. So we're going to start in a seated position. And I've got with me 2 cushions for my practice. So just literally took the cushions off my sofa. You could have pillows, you could have a bolster, you could use blocks. So we don't need too many props for this practice, but of course that's completely up to you. So if you know that you like to use certain equipment for your practice, I would absolutely go for that. You can just hit pause, gather everything you need, and then hit play. I've got a wall behind me, which is going to be quite nice because it'll give me that little bit of lift and lengthen in my spine. If you do have a wall, you can always pop yourself up against the wall. If not, and you find that you're sort of turning into the heart space, pushing the lower spine out, you might grab hold of your cushion or a flat block and just sit on the very edge of it. If your knees are high, that's also going to be helpful. So I'll just tilt the pelvis forward slightly. And let's arrive first of all. So whatever time of day or night you're practicing, I'm practicing late morning, so you can probably see I've got the sun streaming through, which is beautiful, if not exceptionally warm in my room. But we take this time to come to ground, to arrive, just to notice where we are, how we feel. So a seated cross-leg position. This practice could also be done using a chair. If you wanted to sit on your chair, instead you'd have feet to the earth. Spine is long. Feet or seat are grounded. Let's close the eyes or soften the gaze. And take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And just a gentle sigh out of the mouth. As you breathe out, feel the face, the shoulders soften, still maintaining that length through the spine, but noticing where strength and length meet softness and surrender. And notice how your body feels here. So in this practice of noticing your awareness, if we stray into judgment or criticism, then just gently draw ourselves back out. So this isn't to judge or to criticize, this is just to notice. Notice how the breath feels. And you might breathe in through the nose if that suits, and out through the nose. Just be mindful if you're breathing in that manner, or if you're bringing your Ujjayi breath, your victorious breath in, then that is a warming breath. So you may find that you heat up more so through the practice. It's absolutely fine to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through a little gap in the lips. Each breath in could be seen as strength and expansion, and each breath out, softness and surrender. And then taking our awareness to the mind. So how are we? Where are we at with the mind? Again, just noticing. So we might notice whether the mind feels quite clear and calm, or whether the mind is quite busy. Either is fine. If we feel that the mind is really busy, or throughout our practice that the mind switches on, our attention is grabbed and drawn elsewhere, perhaps we come back just into a grounded seating position. Notice the sit bones on the earth or the feet to the earth. Perhaps we come back to the breath. Or we may just repeat to ourselves in the mind, slow down. So it's a physical reminder to slow down. It could be our mental reminder, just kindly just slow down just that little bit. And let's blink the eyes open and just have a little movement, perhaps a stretch through the body. You might want to move a little bit away from the wall now. So when we come into our twists later on, then you'll need a bit of space. If you want to, you could take the legs out in front of you into a straddle. Again, you could sit on something just to tilt forwards. You could come into butterfly, so where we have the soles of the feet together, or you could switch out the cross of the legs. Now I'm just going to rest the hands wherever it feels comfortable and start to sway the body from side to side. You could close the eyes at any point, so just kind of getting into the vibe of the practice. You could have popped some music on if you wish. Apologies if you can hear a little humming sound in the background. That's the fan that I've got in the corner of the room. Absolutely essential for how warm it is in this room at the moment. Just looking up to the thermometer, I think it's about 26 degrees in my room. So I need that fan on. But part of our practice is about just being able to notice what's going on around us, just with curiosity, and then kind of being like, okay, and moving on, moving back into the awareness of ourselves. From that sway, perhaps we start to take some circular motion. So you go intuitively with what feels best for you here. So for some, it might be a stronger kind of straightened back. It might be a smaller circle. For me, it's kind of like a little bit of a lazy circle almost. I'm just shifting weight from the side, forwards, round to the side, back. And we can let the head be a little bit loose and heavy in this. We don't want to be throwing the head backwards and forwards, so that wouldn't be kind to the neck. Pause if you're circling, and let's take it in the other direction. So maybe we went in a habitual direction. We're quite habitual as creatures. We tend to find the way that we do things and stick with that. Often that's okay, if that works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it scenario. But also, can we be curious and explore in our practice? Finding that balance of both, I guess. And let's come back up to what we feel is a strong seated position. I'm going to switch the cross of my legs. Just over again. And we're going to move from side to side. So we breathe in, sweep the hands up, palms are forwards. You might even cross the wrists. As you breathe out, drop your left hand down, reach up and over with that right hand. And rather than closing off through the body, we're drawing nice and open. So we could gaze down towards the knees, to the earth. You may gaze straight forwards, or perhaps if the neck feels okay, but don't drag it or force it, then we move the gaze to the inner elbow. And explore walking the hand away. If we start to come further over to that left side, do we end up closing the body? That's the question. We could always use a block or a cushion, just for that grounded hand. Watch what happens with the knees as well. So is the knee on that right side dragging itself over, or are we just kind of isolating the movement to the upper body? Press down through the left hand, breathe in, let's come back to center, crossing the wrist perhaps, and as we breathe out, we come over to the other side, right hand down, left hand reaches up. And you could have a bend in the elbow, you could have the fingertips right up towards the sky. You might even bring the hand to the back of the head here and draw back, opening up into the armpit. So, you know, there's loads of different options, lots of ways to be curious about the body. Steady breath in. And breathe out. Soften the knees. Soften the face. Push down through that right hand. Take a breath in. Let's sweep the hands up towards the sky, maybe cross the wrists. As we breathe out, bring the hands down to the earth. So that sensation of touching the earth, maybe with the fingertips or maybe with the palms, grounding us down, but drawing us up at the same time. Breathe in. Breathe out. And I'm going to switch my legs into a butterfly position for our twist. So butterfly, there's a tendency for the heels to be further away from the seat. If we're coming into Baddha Konasana, that's a slightly different position, and we might bring the heels closer to the seat. So you'll feel and see there's a different angle there with the hips. Again, you go with what is best for you. Maybe we have blocks or cushions, feel really quite nice, just to come underneath the edges of the thighs. Breathing in, we sweep the hands up, maybe we cross the wrists. As we breathe out, we're going to turn to that right side. I'm just going to shuffle forwards a little bit. Place that right hand down behind you. Push down through the hand. So rather than a leaning into tool, it's a prop and lift. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just gently coaxing that right shoulder round, resting this left hand where it feels comfortable. Settling into your physical position, settle into your breath. And similarly here, we don't want to drag our neck round. So I can feel if I start to really force my neck to come round, it's forcing into my shoulder. I've got a sensitive neck on the right side anyway. It just feels uncomfortable. So rather than that, maybe it's the gaze rather than the physical movement that just tracks diagonally or slightly behind us. Take a breath in that twist. As we breathe out, we're going to turn to center. At this point, spine is nice and long, and we're going to feel like we're delivering the heart space down first before we round the spine. So I'm just gently holding on to my lower legs. You don't need to be able to reach for the feet. So, you know, the destination, let's think there isn't one. We're involved in the journey. Take a breath in, sit nice and tall. As we breathe out, it's almost like we're hinging from the hip space here, and the heart is coming forwards. The gaze might go diagonally. If it's comfortable to reach for the feet, I've just got my thumbs on the inside edges of my feet, but you know, you do what works for you. You might stay here. So sometimes we're looking for sensation. Other times we're kind of like, I want to back away from the sensation a little bit. You will know over time what is right for you. So we could stay in this kind of uplifted position, just watch that the shoulders aren't up around the ears, or we might take a breath in, and as we breathe out, just start to fold forwards. Let the head be heavy. It's almost the head that's guiding you. Chin tucks in towards the chest. And let's take a couple of breaths here. As you breathe in, there's that element of expansion, gently lifting. As you breathe out, it may be that you're folding forwards. It may be that you're lengthening, drawing the heart space forward. So it depends what variation. You might be trying both. If you kept the spine quite long, start to lift up with the gaze first. If you rounded the spine, maybe it feels okay to just roll up through the spine and bring the head up last. Wonderful. So we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees now. You might take cushions, you might take blocks with you. So sometimes you can be quite intensive on the wrist. That can be about positioning, but it can also just be about placing the hands to the earth. So you could place the hands into cushions or onto blocks. And we're going to find our tabletop position. So essentially, something like shoulders and wrists in line, hips and knees in line. But again, you will feel what is best for you. And like when we were seated, we're just going to start to sway from side to side. So perhaps the elbows soften or not. Perhaps the head becomes heavier rather than the crown of the head forwards. If you need a blanket or to double fold your mat for the knees, go for that. And then we're going to come into circular motions here. So seat comes back to the heels. Start to come forward, keeping the core and the abdomen strong, maybe leaning over the wrists slightly, and perhaps even tucking the toes on my way back to get a stretch into the soles of the feet. So a lot of our meridians or energy lines start or end in the toes or the feet and the hands and the fingertips as well. Plus the fact if we're in socks or shoes, maybe we've been walking, or even if we've been sitting, there's a lot of benefit to opening up into the soles of the feet and the toes. Let's pause where we are. Take those circles in the other direction. And moving with your breath, or notice moving with your breath. So for me, it probably would be inhale as I come forwards. Exhale as I release back. Let's pop the tops of the feet back onto the mat. Find ourselves back in a tabletop position. And rather than the back dipping for now, so we're going to come there shortly, we want a nice, strong, long back. Shoulders aren't brought forward to the ears, they're brought away. Tops of the feet gently press down. Then as you breathe in, we let the belly dip down. Shoulders draw back, heart space draws open. Again, don't crank the neck, look into the sky. Just gaze where it's comfortable. As we breathe out, spine starts to arch up towards the sky. Maybe a cheeky little squeeze through the pelvic floor. Inhale. Feel that opening through the front of the body. And as we exhale, open through the back of the body. Let's take one more, cat and cow. And then come back to a neutral position. And I'm going to bring my cushions just underneath my knees, so you don't need to turn towards me. I'm just going to turn towards you so that you can see me. So popping the cushions under my knees for a little bit of comfort. Setting the seat back towards the heels. You could have a block in between the legs, so in between the inner edges of the feet. And we're going to just work on a little flowing sequence, similar to a half sun salutation on the knees. Again, this could be seated. We inhale, we sweep the hands up. Maybe we cross the wrist, draw the biceps back, open the heart space. And as we exhale, we sit the seat back down. Inhale, sweeping up. And exhale, sitting the seat back down. Let's take one more. Inhale. Exhale. From here, I'm going to turn sideways again. We take it into a little bit of something more. So we're going to add a little bit of something else onto it. So I'm just going to protect my knees again. Sitting my seat back towards my heels. Just check in with the lower back. So we're really tilting forwards or we're rounding backwards. Can we find that middle space? We breathe in, sweep the hands up, maybe cross the arms, draw the biceps back. As we breathe out, we plant the hands down in front of us. Breathe in, bend the elbows, scoop the heart space up and through. You could tuck the toes as you breathe out, Arch the spine up towards the sky. Flatten the feet, leaning back slightly as we breathe in, sweep the hands up, perhaps cross the arms. As you breathe out, we sit the seat back down. Take a breath in and out here. Let's go again. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, scoop it through. Exhale, opening up through the back body. Inhale, sitting back slightly and rising up with strength. And as we exhale, we sit the seat back down, take a breath. So one more, I'll just say inhale and exhale for this. If you forget it, it's about just exploring the body. So just move freely. What feels nice for you? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And from here, if it's comfortable, you could come back into a thunderbolt position, so the seat to the heels. For me, it's more comfortable, honestly, if I come back into Sukhasana or a position with the legs in front of me. So find what works there as we start to wind down now. Remember where we began. Spine is tall. There's softness through the face, the shoulders, grounding into the earth. Let's breathe in, sweep the right hand up. As you breathe out, bend the elbow, reach over the head, come to that left ear. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, without pulling or forcing, we're drawing right ear down towards right shoulder and just tilting through the head. You could reach the left fingertips away. So sometimes people say that intensifies this stretch from down the side of the neck, down the arm. Rather than closing and folding forwards, we're keeping the gaze forwards, the chest and the heart space open. Breathing here. Gently start to bring the head back to center, releasing both fingertips or palms to the earth. So that's going to totally depend on your skeletal system, really. So how long the arms are, the torso, and everyone is beautifully unique. Fingertips or palms to the earth, almost like we're connecting with the earth energy. Nice deep breath in. Breathe out. Let's move to the other side. Inhale, left hand comes up. Exhale, it comes over. Take a breath in to prepare you. As you breathe out, we're just drawing over to the left, maybe reaching the right fingertips away. Keeping our gaze, our heart forwards, but of course you could close the eyes or soften the gaze. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, gently release that left arm, fingertips or palms both to the earth. Inhale. And exhale. And we're just going to now bring the fingertips onto the shoulders. Take a breath in as we draw the inner arms and elbows together. And as we breathe out, just open up through the chest. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Little shake out of the hands. And let's lengthen out through the legs. A little wiggle of the toes. Maybe a little tap through the inside edges and the outside edges of the legs. And we're going to come down onto the back of the body now and just work a little bit through strength in the legs. So I'm going to take one of my cushions to pop my head onto. I'm also going to have a cushion close by for my Shavasana. I'm going to grab a sip of my water, and then let's make our way down onto the ground. So coming onto the back of the body. Excuse me if you can hear me gulping. So let's make our way down onto the back of the body, just nice and slowly. Back of the head to the earth. Soles of the feet down. And for a moment, we might even just knock the knees in, tuck the chin to the chest. So this is constructive rest. At this point, if you feel like, I'm ready for my rest, absolutely go there. Otherwise, just a couple of positions here. First one is going to be Setu Bandhasana, or bridge position. So the feet are about hip distance apart. You may take them wider. If we bring the heels in towards the seat, we don't want to bring them so close that when we lift up, our knees really overshoot our heels. So just in terms of strength there. So, always explore, bringing the arms down by the side of the body. Keep the chin tucked to the chest and keep that nice neutral spine. Then as we press down through the feet, we start to breathe in and we're peeling the spine away from the earth, lifting the hips up towards the sky. As we breathe out with control, feel the strength through the legs as we lower the spine all the way down. And we're going to take two more. Push down through the feet, breathe in, lifting up. Breathe out. Lowering down. One more. Inhale. And exhale. From here, let's draw the knees in towards us and just have a little soft roll from side to side. And before Shavasana, our resting position, I'm just going to take this into a twist. So popping the feet down onto the ground, let the knees knock inwards. If you've got space, take the arms out a little bit wider. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, just let the knees swish over to the right side. You may then feel that you want to stack the knees, but you don't have to. Next, breath in, knock the knees or the thighs back to center. And as you breathe out, swish them over to the left. So if you're not stacking, you might feel like it's a real kind of nice, strong stretch through that upper leg, top of thigh, move into inner thigh. One more on each side. So we breathe into center and we breathe out to right. Breathe into center and breathe out to left. And as you inhale, come back to center. And from here, we're going to set ourselves up in Shavasana. So you may extend the legs. It's nice to have something behind the knees, especially if you have any lower back issues. Or you might have the feet to the earth. Or you might decide to come into more of a side Shavasana. So in that case, we're going to lie on the side of the body. And here it's nice for a bit of lower body balance to pop something between the legs. That lower arm may just drift out. The upper arm, rather than really closing ourselves off, because that can feel quite heavy into the heart space, just going to peel that upper shoulder back. Again, this is where it's quite handy having the wall behind me. And I'm going to place that upper arm on the side of my body. You might even just have the hand reaching round to the belly. So take your time, use any props that you need to. And when you get there, just starting to close the eyes or soften the gaze. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose and a soft sigh out of the mouth. Start to feel the body responds to that. The soft sigh leads to the softening of the body. And there's nothing else to do here. If the mind begins to drift away, just know that's normal. Where could we draw it back into? Perhaps you take awareness to the breath, maybe to a part of the body. Or perhaps you're just saying to yourself in the mind, slow down. Slow down. And you can take as long as you need in your Shavasana, longer than you feel you need. If you don't have time, then maybe it's the time that you need to be in Shavasana when we're kind of like, oh, I'm just so busy, need to get everything done. There's real benefit in pausing, kind of regrounding, regrouping, and then going back to what we feel we need to get done. When you're ready to leave, whether you're on the back or the side of the body, we come to the side and we push down through the earth, starting to bring ourselves up nice and slowly so we don't rush away from Shavasana. Find a position that helps you feel grounded. So for me, it would be coming back to where I began. So like nature, there's this cyclical nature to our practice. Spine long, seat to the earth. I'm just going to take a few breaths. We want to come out of our practice, yes, feeling relaxed, but not feeling kind of like too away with the fairies. So if we need to have a sip of your drink, a little bite of chocolate or some sweet fruit can help just to kind of reground you. Also good for getting our sensory awareness back. Let's breathe in, sweep the hands up. This time we join the palms. As we breathe out, we draw them down to the heart space. We gently drop the chin towards the chest. We take a moment to thank yourself, your body, breath, mind, perhaps spirit or soul, if that's your belief. And I bow to you. Thank you for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this Move Slowly practice. There are a huge variety of practices for Slowdown September, so don't forget to check them out. They are all free on Yoga Borne YouTube. Wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, your evening, a good night's sleep, whatever time you're practicing next. Many blessings. See you soon.